Hi there, it's the Air Carthage bringing you the second part of my fighting firemen with firemen video. And as you can see, there's a lot of fire flying around. Up front I've got 2 units of Roman archers, 2 more units of Roman archers in the back, and 4 units of archer auxilia. This might be another army that you've seen from time to time online that's really annoying to fight against. So I was going to show you how it's like to fight against it. I've got 5 units of urban cohorts backed up by 4 units of Praetorian cavalry. Now I'm fighting against a typical Egyptian army at the moment, except with fewer missiles than usual. But let me show you how hard it is to actually outshoot the Egyptians. I've got 8 units of archers. My opponent has 4 units of archers. And you're going to see that he's very nearly going to win this missile duel. Well, I guess he has 6 units of archers, so you include his chariot archers, which are now coming up to shoot me from behind. Now I could have turned my archer fire towards them, but really the more dangerous foe here is the Pharaoh's bowmen. Now remember, the Pharaoh's bowmen are in flaming mode, and so they're going to be shooting fewer volleys per minute than my men. Now I have all 8 of my archers trained in on this unit of Pharaoh's bowmen, and it took 3 volleys to bring them down to 35 men. 3 volleys of 8 missile units. Pharaoh's bowmen are ridiculously strong. So I'm now targeting all my missiles on this unit. Look, 1 volley only took them down to 71. That was 9 men from 8 missile units. Yeah, so Pharaoh's bowmen, that's why a lot of people bring them with Egypt. I don't have anything against my opponent, which by the way is HOS King Skittle. He was very well mannered, very nice person. I have nothing against my opponent, and I don't have anything against clans in general. But a lot of them like to use this army, and this is why I don't like it. I mean, I'm sitting here pummeling his men with missile fire, and it's having very little effect. Or at least not as quickly as it should. So in any case, as you can see, let's show you the rest of my opponent's army. He's brought Desert Axemen instead of Pharaoh's Guards, which is just as well, because Pharaoh's Guards aren't that good. He's got 6 units of them, and in the back he's got 4 units of Egyptian chariots. Now, the thing that I don't like about chariots is that they're really, really overpowered. If you ever look at the stats of chariots, like these chariot archers here, they have like 1 or 2 defense. Yet right here, earlier, they routed this unit of Praetorian cavalry, and they're going to do the same again right here. Yeah, chariot archers, like, remember what I said, I mean, this is the best cavalry in the game, and they've easily decimated one of the, these 2 crappy units of chariot archers. Cheap chariot archers have easily decimated one of the best cavalry units in the game. And if any of you have played against, if you've ever played against, Rome when they're using Praetorian cavalry, you know how overpowered Praetorian cavalry are, and you saw them just get routed by chariot archers. Now, my opponent's making a foolish move of concentrating his fire on my urban cohorts. That's just a waste of missiles. And had he actually fired back at my archers, I think that he might have won that missile duel. So he brings in his chariots here, but because I have urban cohorts, it's not going to be an easy battle for him. Because even though they've been heavily depleted by fire arrows, urbans don't generally rout too easy. And so his chariots are going to get bogged down here in my urban cohorts. And chariots are not good when they get bogged down on heavy infantry. But they don't get too much damage caused to them, unfortunately. Like I said, chariots have extremely, extremely low defense. But for some reason, they don't die very easy unless you put them onto a front of a phalanx. I don't really understand that, nor do I think it's fair. Okay, finally I got one of his units of chariots. His general unit of chariots comes in, and they're going to overwhelm these units that I have here. At the same time, I've got my missile fire coming in on the chariots as well. That's one thing that is good against chariots, is missiles. Now typically when you play against an Egyptian opponent, they bring so many archers and chariots, I mean, your archers are dead in seconds. And then all they have to do is pick you apart with their archers, and then charge you with their chariots. So the reason I brought this annoying army of mine, and yes, I'm going to admit that my army is extremely annoying, it's cheap, and I don't like it, but I was going to show you that whenever you fight against these cheap armies, it's not so easy to win. My opponent is a good player, and I suppose that he frequently wins with this type of army that he's brought against me. So that was the exact reason why I brought my army, was to basically show that it's not so easy to fight cheap with cheap. Yeah, so his chariots are getting pretty well decimated. I'm keeping my cavalry away from the remainder of his chariots, which is not what he wants me to do. And here I'm going to run my cavalry out of the way and try and get his chariots to come into my infantry. That's what I would prefer to happen, at least. All the while, I'm going to fire every missile I have at his chariots, and it routs this unit. And basically, if I can get rid of his chariots, this fight's over. So as you can see, it's not so fun to play against these armies. I mean, the people like to pick these Egyptian armies, and I imagine they win all the time because they're extremely hard to beat with any other faction except for Rome, and not only just Rome, but Rome loaded with archers, loaded with urbans and praetorians. You can see that I've suffered quite a lot of casualties. And remember, I outnumbered his archers 2 to 1, but still look at the devastation that his archers have caused me. They nearly destroyed a unit of my urban cohorts and also caused massive damage. And look, this unit of Pharaoh's Bowmen still has 55 men. This unit over here, they've got 75 men. Remember, they were outnumbered 2 to 1. So, if you ever play against an army where they've got 5 or 6 Pharaoh's Bowmen, you might as well just admit defeat. Now here he's charged his axemen into my urbans. That's not going to be a good idea. Here I'm charging my cavalry up, and I'm going to go ahead and hit his axemen in the rear. They were about to rout anyway. And I use this as bait. I move my cavalry out here in order for him to charge his chariots forward. And I'm now going to run my cavalry out, and even if he catches a few of my cavalry like he did, it's basically a trap. Now he's not going to be able to get his chariots out in time before my urbans catch him. So now his chariots are finished. So as you can see, the Egyptian armies fall apart pretty quick when you take away their chariots. Now his Pharaoh's Bowmen are sitting ducks, and I can finish this battle as I've wanted to. Yeah, so in any case, listen to me very clearly once again. I have nothing against my opponent. Nothing. I don't have anything against clans in general. I just really, really dislike the type of army, number one, that I'm using, and the type of army that my opponent is using. The only reason I've used the army I did here was to show you how tough this Egyptian army is, because my army is ludicrously overpowered, and I still barely defeated this Egyptian army. Anyway, I'm always ranting about these kind of armies, and this is why. Online, if people would just play with like a little more historically accurate armies, to me, just to me, it's my opinion, the game would be 10 times more fun, but people won't. So whatever. Anyway, that's the end of my second part of the Fight Firemen with Firemen series. As you can see, I've had 955 kills, while my opponent, HOS King Skittle R, had 694 kills. Good game to King Skittle, and please don't take any offense to me using you in this video.